What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. We are going to talk about Sinister Six with Doc Ock in Alliance War. Now, I've been trying this team out for the past few wars. We've gotten Doc Ock unlocked through the legendary event, and I have to say, they are pretty good on offense. I'm very impressed with what they've done with this team. Doc Ock has really just kind of elevated this team up to the next level. They are a top tier war team now for sure. Not sure how they're going to do on defense, but on offense, they are just absolutely fantastic. Definitely a team that you're going to want to use because they can counter Black Order. We can counter Emmarauders. I haven't really tried Mercs yet. Mercs is one I'm still kind of meh on. That one I'm not sure about yet, but pretty much any other team out there that you're going to find on defense, you should be able to counter them with the Sinister Six team. So let me talk about what T4s I have on them so far. I've got 2 on Electro. I've got her passive because this gives the bonus damage with this. This is 300% damage at this point with her charged. That's a big deal. And then I also have her chain lightning effect because this applies the offense down for 2 turns. So those are the 2 T4s I have on Electro. Definitely want to have that offense down for 2 turns. Now with the things with Bugged and Doc Ock, that's still kind of an issue. But we are going to talk about that too. The problem with his passive and the speed up, that is not working properly. He is apparently gaining speed up and then clearing it at the end of his turn. So it's not sticking around, so he's not moving as fast as he should be, but you do want this T4 because it gives 30% bonus damage for chargeable Sinister Six allies in a war. So Electro gets 30% bonus damage, Swarm gets 30% bonus damage. You do want to have that passive, and then you're also going to want to go for this T4. I don't have it yet. It applies +3 charge, but that's not the big thing. The reason why you want this is because of the summon, and when it summons, basically the stats of your summon are based off of his ability levels as well. So you can see we've got the T4 here on Shocker because I have the T4 on the passive for Doc, and you're going to want the T4 on the special because it gives this offense up to all Sinister Six allies. You do want that. I don't have this one yet. It's kind of hampered my ability to really make this team work, but it will work out overall. This one is this is definitely a T4 you're going to want to get as well, so you can get offense up to your whole team. That I think is going to help with some of these counters. So that's what my Doc Ock and Electro look like, and you can see I've got other characters here. Now, one thing that you're going to want to do with Sinister Six in war is that you want to change members out based on who you're fighting. Green Goblin is very, very important for countering Emma and also for countering Black Order. Swarm, I'm kind of iffy on. You'll use Swarm for Black Order, but you're definitely not going to use him for your Emma teams. Mysterio is very important for Emma, but can be a bit of a liability with his deflect and having that switch over to bleeds. Depending on what room you're fighting in, that Mysterio deflect can be a huge liability. We'll talk about that in the footage I've got. And then I'm going to use Rhino. Now, Rhino, I use him solely to counter the blind with Emma. We'll talk about that in the footage here. And I'm not really bothering with Shocker because he's the summon from Doc Ock. And I don't have Vulture leveled up, but in the footage we have of countering Black Order, we've got someone who used Vulture for that team. So it's one of those things where you're going to want to switch out certain members. You obviously will want Doc Ock and you will want Electro, and then Green Goblin, Mysterio, Swarm, Rhino. You're going to kind of switch those out based on who you're fighting, what weaknesses and strengths that character brings to the team. So let's start off with the footage I've got of punching up against Emmarauders. All right, so this is my footage of Sinister Six versus Emma. You see I've got Rhino on the end, Doc Ock, and then Electro, then Mysterio, then Green Goblin. I'm not using Swarm. I'm not a big fan of Swarm for this fight because while you can, you apply disrupted and defense down, the problem is Emma can very constantly cleanse those defects. So you don't want to really worry about debuffs. You want to be able to strip buffs from the enemy team. That's a big problem with Emma. And this is why I have Mysterio and Green Goblin. Mysterio's basic can remove positive effects, gives bonus focus to Sinister Six, and then Green Goblin's passive allows him to constantly strip buffs on the beginning of every Sinister Six ally's turn. The big deal. So this is the team I'm using, and you can see it's about a 15k punch up here thereabouts without countering like the room bonuses and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pretty much try to get Taunt off of Strife and go for Emma. If I can get rid of Emma, it's going to make this fight much easier. Emma's kind of like, cleansing buffs. She's stripping buffs from my team. She's cleansing debuffs from her team. The blind is why I have Rhino in here. Rhino's going to counter the blind that Emma's going to throw out. We'll show that here in a second. But yeah, so we're going to start off this fight. And what we're going to do is we're basically just going to try to get through the taunt on Strife as quickly as possible. Team's going to take a little bit of damage here. but then that's why we have the regeneration with Doc Ock and having him constantly heal up the team. Not that big of a deal. We have the slow on our team, but again, not a big issue. We're going to try to cleanse or strip the buffs off of Strife here. Strips everything but the taunt. Not ideal, but ideally if you could get that taunt off of Strife, then you can go straight for Emma. And that's basically what the first like 3 minutes of this fight is going to be, is us trying to get through Strife. Now, we did have some luck here. We did have Mr. Sinister clone my Green Goblin instead of like Doc Ock or Electro. Probably would have been pretty bad if Electro had gotten cloned, but Green Goblin was cloned there, not that big of a deal. And then we're gonna have the taunt here with Rhino. You're gonna see that why here in a second. So Rhino's taunting. We're starting to get some passes built up with Electro. She's starting to do some damage. She's taking out Mystique. We're gonna apply a heal block here. That way the regenerations on the enemy team not gonna really heal the characters up. And you can see that Mystique's down below half health, so Strife taunts. We're gonna do some damage here to Strife, and we're still gonna just try to keep removing buffs from Strife. That's the big deal. You gotta get through Strife in order to get through Emma. That's the big problem. Now this is only a tier 12, I believe. Strife could be a tier 13 Strife, and you can see that we just had Emma use her ultimate here, and it puts the blind on Rhino, and that is very important because whenever Rhino gets a blind, he automatically cleanse one negative effect from every Sinister Six team or member, and also gains a huge chunk of speed bar. So he cleanses the blind here. He removes buffs, debuffs from the team here. Still have ability block on Doc, which is a problem, but now we have Rhino who can move. No point using his ultimate because he's blinded, and now we're still just gonna try to keep going through Strife, and it's gonna take a while. Yeah, that's the big problem, and this is why a Green Goblin's so important here, because he's constantly able to remove those buffs. You have the basic from Mysterio that can also remove buffs, and now Taunt is off Strife, so now we are going after Emma. Now, this is where things are getting a little tricky too. We get ability block and blind on Emma, so now she cannot remove negative effects from the team, and then we're going to try to hammer Emma as much as possible. Gonna have Mysterio go, or Mystique go below 50% health again. Strife's gonna taunt again, but now we're gonna try to remove those taunts once again and keep going after Emma. This is kind of the tricky part. Now, you could make it easier by just going after Strife, but the problem is if you can't get rid of Emma and you can't ability block her, then she's gonna be able to remove effects from Strife to make things very tricky. Doc Ock flips the buffs once again, and we just took out Mystique because she was already below 50% health. Might as well take her out before she heals back up again and forces Strife to taunt again. And then there we go. Emma's back up above. We'll take her down below. Strife will taunt once more, and then we can remove the buffs. So, yeah, it's kind of a back and forth effort. And once you have Emma out of the way, you can just go straight for Strife. Honestly, you probably should just go straight for Strife in the first place. Probably make things a bit easier. And if you can get rid of Strife, yeah, you can pick off the rest of the team. And that was my mistake. Honestly, I probably should have just gone straight for Strife, and I didn't. I tried to get rid of Emma, and that made things a little trickier. We get rid of the taunt once more on Strife, and now we can just hammer Emma quite a bit more here. Do the offense down. You can see that offense down is now applying correctly now. They have fixed that with Doc, but again, we still have that speed up issue. So it's not all, it's not working as well as it should be. We still have problems where Doc's not moving as fast as he can be. But yeah, there we go. So now Mr. Sinister has cloned another character as my Shocker this time. But now we just go after Strife. We finish him off. And I finished this fight with about 45 seconds left. Not ideal, but it's nice to see that you can at least defeat this team. This was a 15k punch up with the room bonuses added on top of that. So it's nice to see, and I throw it on auto at this point, and I just kind of clean things up. So honestly, if I had gone back through this fight one more time, I would have just gone straight for Strife instead of trying to hammer on Emma. You know, at least be able to ability block her so she's not able to remove negative effects from her team. And then basically just hammer on Strife. That's all you have to really worry about. And you can see that we're just constantly removing positive effects from the team with the Cauterize from Green Goblin. And that's why Goblin's so important here, removing those positive effects, because that's one of the big deals with Marauders is Mr. Sinister spreads around a lot of positive effects, does a lot of regeneration and healing. So if you are able to counteract that with Green Goblin and removing those buffs, that's a big deal. So definitely something you want to go for. Now, let's go ahead and focus on this footage for Black Order. All right, so this team that counters Black Order. Now, this is not a very good fight. The problem is we're in Reactor, and there's also security down. This footage comes from Visara He actually posted on YouTube. He shared it with me the other day in our stream. And yeah, this is kind of like the least ideal place you want to use or use your Sinister Six. That disrupt and defense down is not going to do you any favors. You're not going to get any regeneration from Doc Ock. You can't taunt with Rhino if he's there. This team is going to get picked apart pretty badly by your Black Order because of those debuffs. But you can still he actually managed to pull out a punch across with this team, and yeah, it's not good. Now he's using Green Goblin, Vulture, Swarm, and Electro with Doc Ock. And the reason he's using Vulture here is actually, you're going to see with his AoE attack here in a minute, he's going to actually be able to just about kill Corvus and Proxima with Vulture's AoE attack. And that's actually pretty significant. This was before Doc Ock got fixed as well. So there are always going to be some problems with offense down getting applied, but you're able to clear out the positive effects on Cole Obsidian. And now you can go after some of the other characters here. We got offense down on Thanos, on Corvus, and on Ebony. So good there. Glad to see offense down on Corvus. That makes things a whole lot easier. And we're pretty much just gonna try to go after Corvus or Proxima, try to kill them. You don't want to go after Thanos because Thanos is just gonna take forever to die. But if you can take out some of these other characters before Thanos gets off his ultimate, it's going to make things a little bit more manageable, and we're going to start losing characters here in a minute. Electro is gone, which is not good. You've lost your passive there with the constant damage, and then you get the ultimate there from Vulture, and look at that. Takes Corvus and Proxima down pretty low on health. So that's not too bad. We flip the buffs with Doc Ock, and he blocks and is able to heal things up. There's the ultimate from Thanos. Does not do as much damage as you would think, but that offense down on Thanos was pretty instrumental there. Really helped prevent that from doing a lot of damage. And the Green Goblin removing buffs is very helpful here as well. You can see we're constantly removing buffs. We're gonna finish off Cole Obsidian here in a second, and then it's just down to Ebony and Thanos. Not bad at all with the defense down and the disrupt. Was able to manage it. It was about a 4K punch up with the room buff, so pretty much a punch across. Not that bad, but that disrupt with reactor and the defense down with security, not ideal. And that, I think, shows the power of this team too, is even with those horrible debuffs like that, the defense down, the disrupt, you're still able to punch across with your Sinister Six against Black Order, and that's pretty amazing, right? I think that's pretty cool. So offense up on everybody once again, and then we're gonna try to finish off Thanos here in a moment, and then we're just gonna work on Ebony Maw, and we're gonna wrap up the fight. So the beautiful thing is that the constant dispelling with Green Goblin is very, very important. That's something I found. That is something people are definitely using to defeat Black Order. There's a lot of buffs flying around with Black Order, so if you're able to constantly strip them with Green Goblin on the team, very, very important. Now, he doesn't have Mysterio because of the deflex applying bleed when Thanos flips them. Bit of a problem, especially when you're going to be in a room like this where you have a lot of debuffs already because of room bonuses. But yeah, was able to do it. A very nice job done by Visara. I have not personally been able to try Black Order yet. It's hard finding a comparable team for me to try them against, but I will be trying them in this next war. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I have to say, Sinister Six look very, very impressive. Definitely a top-end war team now. Very glad to see them really get promoted up the tiers now with offense. So let me know down below, what do you guys think about Black Order, or not Black Order, Sinister Six on offense? Are you guys a fan of them? Do you guys really want to use them? I know a lot of people don't have Doc Ock, so how excited are you to be getting Doc Ock next time as well? Let me know down below, but as always, if you guys did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that like button, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.